Hello, I am so glad that you have joined me for a Saturday afternoon Chatty Sewing Live. While I work on costumes, I am trimming this seam right now. It's very exciting. It's really not exciting at all. But I am glad to be back with y'all to say hello and to see what everyone is up to. I have had kind of a crazy sort of day. Um, I started out with the best intentions. I got up at 5:40 this morning and did my whole morning routine, walked Honey, came back, and started sewing. And it turns out that my aunt is sick in the hospital. We thought she was getting better. She's still not doing great, and so now I have to go to Louisiana with my grandma and my sister on Wednesday, which means I need to really get in gear with all of this. So I see that there are two of you there. Say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I would love to hear from you. And, that's kind of what's going on right now here. And I've just been trying to work on this. And the thing about costumes is that the good thing about costumes is that they don't have to be perfect. So that's a huge thing, huge bonus. They just have to look good from the audience. So the audience isn't going to be up there on stage looking at your seams and seeing what's straight and what's not. And so as long as they fit the actors and, you know, look good, that's really all that matters. I did get my fabric for the bot costumes, and this is what it looks like. It is very shiny. This will look very good from stage. I have done costuming previously with these types of bright fabrics. Hi, Craig. It's so nice to hear from you. I'm glad you could join in. I think you're the first one on so far. Um, I wasn't sure about this 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon thing, but this is when I had a chance to take a break after working all morning. So um, I'm glad you're here with me and anyone else who decides to pop in at some point. I yeah, so costumes don't have to be perfect, so that's the good news. And I've been thrown for a loop with some of these because one of the women who was supposed to be one of the characters had to drop out, and then she got we found another attorney to be in the role, and she actually is one of the alumni, so she's been in a lot of previous shows. She just happened to come by to pick up a costume to help me out with some alterations, and she was like, we're like, Tracy, do you want to be in the show? And she's like, okay. And I'm just like, wow, what a commitment. But they asked me first, and I said, no, absolutely not. You will not have any costumes if I have to be in the show, because having to do all of it is just way too much work at this point in time. And I really like my sleep. I go to bed at 9 o'clock at night and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do all my morning routine before I go to court. And that's kind of my little daily ritual to get me started. And that's what I do. So no, I cannot stay up till 10 o'clock at night rehearsing, and I really did not want to have to learn any lines, especially because this character is the one who says a lot of like the legal ethics so that people can get credit for ethics CLE, which is continuing legal education. Like if you're a lawyer and you go to the show, you get 2 hours of ethics CLE. So it's kind of a way to get lawyers into the seats. And yeah, that's a lot of rules you got to memorize, and they have to be spot on. So you can't just kind of wing it. And if you flub your lines, nobody knows, because you really have to do it, because that's the whole point of getting the credit. So um, thankfully, she was a smaller size than the woman who I was originally costuming, and so I just cut the pattern down. And because I was procrastinating and hadn't started sewing yet, um, I just it was still pinned to the fabric, actually. So I just had to like rotary blade down one size. So she was a size medium. And then thankfully I hadn't gotten to cutting down the small and the extra small. So no worries there. But the other thing that totally threw me for a loop was the choreographer told me, oh yeah, hey, everyone needs pockets because we've got these gloves in this one number and we need to put them in pockets because they don't leave stage, but they don't want to still be wearing them. So I was like, "Oh, that's great. Thanks for letting me know." But, once again, because I had been procrastinating, all that meant is that I didn't have to rip out the side seams to add inseam pockets. So if you have made inseam pockets, they are not super complicated. My little system was I found a dress that I'd made that had some inseam pockets. Since these bot costumes are basically like, big tubes with sleeves and collars, that was the closest thing to a dress. And so I just said, okay, let's get this pattern. And then I cut out a whole bunch of them. The pink ones haven't been sewn in yet, so I've still got those. That's one of the other fabrics. So very metallic, sparkly. So anyway, back to my story. I have to add pockets into all the bot costumes. And yeah, so that was some extra work for me to do. I thought they were going to be super fast, just sew the side seams, sew the sleeves, put it in, add the yoke, put a casing in, that good stuff. And now I've added some extra steps to put those inseam pockets in. I mean, thankfully, they're not more complicated. Yes, this fabric is from Fabric Wholesale Direct, Craig, and it got here so fast. So I have to give props to Fabric Wholesale Direct. I found them like right before Craig mentioned it on one of the comments in one of my videos. I don't remember which one. But so then because, you recommended it, Craig, I was like, okay, so somebody else has used them. They're good. Let me do that. That's what I got. That's how I got all these colors. I actually had a different metallic in my cart, and then it sold out of the 2 blues that I needed because this is the Alexa blue, and then Cortana is the other blue, which is like this lighter blue. And then Wikipedia is this light lilac, and then Series this bright pink. So I needed like certain specific colors that I was doing the costumes with. And the first set, which was just a solid metallic, sold out of the blues. So then I found this one, which is a little bit stretchy. It's a satin backed. Hi, Tony. Yeah, so this is satin backed, which has made the sewing not too bad. The biggest problem with this fabric is that whatever they use to make this stick to the satin is very gummy, and it is causing me problems because it's gumming up the needle. And I bought Microtex needles because when I looked at Joann's and like which ones would sew, they said it would sew metallic fabric. I think it means like just regular metallic fabric and not this kind of metallic on one side, um, satin on the other side, because this has some kind of glue. And so the needle starts getting gummy, and then this little thread ball starts showing up on it. And it's just kind of a mess. And so I can get some of the sewing done, but then about every third seam, I have to, unthread it, pull off the little ball of fuzz, and then rethread it. And it refuses, 100% refuses to do the yoke. So I managed to get this done on this blue one. It has like a little slit in the casing. And if you look closely, I guess y'all can't see that. So anyway, I have to fold the fabric over, and then I have to do a stitch line here. Let me show it better. There we go. So this is what it does not like. It does not like having this fabric on the top and this fabric on the feed dog. It just stopped working. Like my needle was just like, nope, I'm just gonna put the thread in and bring it back out. And that was it. So I made the Cortana one, but then, I got to sew this yoke little flap here, which it does not want to do. It's not doing it. And so that one's partially done, minus the yoke. The blue one has the yoke on it. I'm trimming it so then I can sew the casing seam. And then I started putting together the purple one for Wiki as well. And I thought I was going to sew while I chat, but I don't think I'm that coordinated, especially with the technical difficulties I'm having. I don't have any Teflon needles, Tony, but thank you for that suggestion. I just ordered some super non-stick needles on Amazon. Schmetz makes those. They just don't have them at Joann's, and they will be here tomorrow. So I'm thinking that I can hold on the yoke part of it until I get those needles. Apparently, I think they're made out of Teflon. They're not specifically called that, but had I known this would be this sticky sewing it, I would have um, ordered those from the beginning. But I have a Teflon foot because a little bit later I'm going to be sewing some other like kind of stretch metallic lame. Tissue paper that might work. I'll try that, Craig. That might, but I just don't know. Um, so we'll see how it goes. I think with the other needle, which will be tomorrow, I can get some more done today and then kind of have the basic shell put together. I would put this on, but I don't want to mess up my mic, and it's just kind of crazy looking. So let me show y'all what I'm working on. It's huge because this kind of cinches all together at the neck, and then it has a big piece. There's a casing here at this seam, and then the sleeves go out. And then I think I'm going to use some horsehair braid at the bottom. So if y'all didn't see that last video, oh gosh, now I've dropped my picture. So give me a sec to grab it. This is what happens on live. Oh, I can't reach it. Live video, crawling around under the sewing table. Okay, so this is my little picture. This is my little picture. So this is what it's going to look like, except it's going to have short sleeves because apparently the bots need to move their arms in some of the dances. And I think with this piece of, where is it? That line there is actually like a casing with plastic boning in it. And I think that's going to limit like how high you can lift your shoulders, especially with a long sleeve. So I was thinking short sleeve. We'll see what happens with the sleeve. Hello, Cheeky Fox from Germany. I'm glad that you could join us. Inverted box pleats. Wow. Yeah, that's a challenge, my friend. I have did I do a whole, I think I did some of those for a skirt last year. And the first time they all were like going the wrong way, but I didn't realize it until it was finished. So that's just how they are. And then I made them the skirt a second time, and then I got the pleats going the right direction. So they were all going out. I had one viewer tell me that the pleats can go whichever way you want, and however you did it is how it was meant to be. So that's kind of what I go with. So best of luck to you and your box pleats, because it is a skill. I think once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. But then I think with the marking and the folding, like to figure out in your head which way it's supposed to go once you wear it, may be kind of the challenge. So I have not done it again since last fall, but for now it's good. So that is what I'm working on. I delegated my alien costumes. I did get all the fabric cut out. Also fabric from Fabric Wholesale Direct, which was a very good price on neon green knit. And so I met a young woman at the Joann's grand opening last July and got to talking with her and her mom. And she was actually living in DC at the time and home visiting her mom. And she was telling me that she's a lawyer and she sews and makes costumes. And I was like, oh, you should come be part of Night Court, especially. And she sings and dances too. So, like, that's what we need in Night Court. And so she and I have stayed in touch. And we've been going back and forth about the costume and like, hey, can you help? Would you be interested? And she said yes. And she offered to help. And so we chatted by Zoom, and then I dropped off the fabric at her house. So she's helping me out with those. I think I would be kind of really, really stressed out if I had to do those costumes as well. Thankfully, I've got these 4-bot costumes sort of put together. Like I said, the pockets slowed down the process. I think I could have them all done already if between the needle and the pockets, everything had worked a little smoother. But yeah, so that's a lot. I need a sip of water because I'm getting a little thirsty. So Cheeky Fox is working on inverted box pleats. Tony and Craig, what y'all working on? Anyone else out there? Let me know. Say hi. I see that there's a few of you watching now. Love to know what you're working on. If you did not know, if you did not see the last video, the Night Court is a production here in Houston of Lawyers, and it is a musical theater event, and it is a performance at the Hobby Center, which is a big theater downtown in Houston, and it runs the 16th through the 19th of August. And I've been doing it for like several years, like off and on. I took a break. I did it for 5 years, and then I took a break for 4 years, and then I came back and did it for, I think it was 5 years, and then the pandemic happened. So, you know, that happens. And so now I didn't do last year's show, which was really good because like COVID went around the cast like during and after the show. So I'm glad I missed out on that. But the they're back this year. We have a new director. It's very exciting. And I am doing the costume design. And so last weekend, I saw all the streetwear costumes and kind of approved all of those. And then this weekend, they're all building sets, and I am working on more costumes. So that's kind of what's happening. And it's going okay. Like I said, I finally figured out the Galactic Mediator. It's a sci-fi theme this year. The name of it is the Law Files, so it's kind of like X Files and Stranger Things, and some aliens show up, and there's some artificial intelligence bots. That's what these are. These are not technically robots; they are AI bots, and some different characters like that from various things. And it should be fun. It should be interesting to say the least. But I've watched some of the rehearsals. Everybody's working really hard. It's about 32 people in the cast, so it's a good sized cast. It's a lot of work, and I'm glad to just be doing the costuming this year. I have previously been in the show and done the costuming and billing 40 hours a week. So that was back in 20 that was the 2018 show, I believe. That was a little crazy. I did not get much sleep. But it helped me realize that I really love sewing more than being a lawyer, and that sewing is one of those few things that I would do till 2 o'clock in the morning because I did. It's a backpack needlehead. Oh, awesome, Craig. That is awesome that you're working on a backpack. I have not done any accessories recently, but yeah, so I realized my true passion was sewing and creating and design when I was working in a civil litigation job, looking at medical records, sitting in a office all day, which was very boring and very mind numbing. And eventually left that job, went back to my old job in traffic, which is not complicated. And I've done it for so long that I did it for 8.5 or 9 years before I went and did civil. And then I realized that I needed to get back to sewing. And so I went back to my other job in traffic, which is more, straightforward, not as much stress, never in an office, only in the courtroom. So that's more fun anyway. And then pandemic, yay, pandemic, everything happened in the pandemic. I lost my job, got laid off, and decided that I would focus on sewing and building a website and starting a YouTube channel. So that's how this happened. And I have really gotten a lot better at sewing. That's for one thing. So since last year, I really have been sewing very regularly, and now making costumes a year later, after, because I really, really kicked it into high gear like last July. I think I made 6 things in 23 days, which was kind of like my first real push to do something kind of crazy. I was like, I think I can totally make, 4 bot costumes in, I have 11 days left to get all these costumes done. So I can totally do that. And yeah, so that's where we are. I'm happy. It's fun. It's nice to not have to sew for myself and not to have to be so completely meticulous sewing, because costumes are just more forgiving. And these are super forgiving costumes because they're very large. They're oversized, as you can see from my drawing. And I think, but for the possible choreography issues with the sleeves, I think they should work. Fingers crossed that it all works, because if not, we're going to have some problems because there is no time to go back to the drawing board. And there was a time when did costuming for Night Court was like, hey, can I get the heads up on who's being what, like in May, so I can start this process sooner? But that doesn't always happen. And since, we have a new director and I was traveling at the end of May into the beginning of June, I didn't meet with him until mid-June. And then, I had to get measurements for people because there were a bunch of new people in the cast, so I didn't have measurements for them. So that's kind of been the challenge and then because of rehearsals, some people aren't there some weekends because, they're lawyers traveling, doing other things. And so that had kind of been the other challenge, was getting everybody measured and then figuring out how much fabric I needed because I wasn't making the exact pattern. And but then finding the pattern that would work. So it's a challenge, but it's fun. So if you get the chance to costume, go for it. You can do it. It does not have to be perfect. I think one of the main things with costuming is keeping the pattern simple so it's fast to sew. Because when I worked with another woman who was also doing costuming. So she did costuming for years and then I kind of joined the cast, and she came in, and so then she was kind of more in charge than I was because I was the new kid, and she would be like, "Here, I need you to make this pattern." And I remember this pattern I had to make was the pattern was a Civil War reproduction jacket, and it had like 20 pieces to it. And I was looking at this pattern going, why? Why would you use this pattern to make a costume? Because it's too complicated. And any jacket pattern would work, like any basic kind of a jacket pattern would have worked for this purpose. But, you know, that she was notorious for doing that. So it got to a point where I was established enough that I was like, I'm not working with her. I want to costume my characters. She can costume her characters. We keep everything separate. And since then it's been a lot easier and a lot more. It's been up to me to do the inspiration, pick the patterns and all that good stuff. So um, that's been so much better than it was before. But anyway, that's what I'm working on, and I just wanted to catch up with y'all and bring you into my life and let you know what's going on. So, I am going to have to go to Louisiana next week, and I have to figure out what I'm going to take to work on while I'm there. Thankfully, I will be, you know, in town with my family, and like all my Louisiana family is in the same place. So I can go take my sewing machine and get it set up and work on things if I need to. But I'm really trying to get things done between now and then. At least if I can get these bot costumes knocked out and then get the Groot costume cut out, because I have to make a Groot costume. Now I'm not making it like Groot in, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's too complicated. And Groot has to dance, which, he's kind of CGI in the movies. So, they don't have that problem. But when it's a person in a costume that has to dance, you need to do something different than, a cosplay costume made out of foam, which is what is all over Pinterest. So, if you're not familiar with Groot, he's a big tree. He's like a big bark man. And Groot's actually being played by a woman, is my friend Chelsea. And I was joking with her and said, like, oh, hey, you can sew your own costume because you know how to sew now. And she's like, no, that's not funny. She's also doing assistant choreography. So she has a lot on her plate and she's in the show. So it's a lot going on. But I decided that I'm going to do a overall type pattern with some big full kind of legs, because Groot is kind of like fitted, like he's kind of skinny through the top, but then his legs kind of flare out like tree trunks at the bottom. So I'm going to do that. I don't know where my fabric went. I can show it to you guys. Let me see. It's under this table somewhere. Bear with me for a second. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is the fabric that I got for Groot. It is tree-ish. It's like trees and leaves. I would have liked to have gotten a different print, but I could not find anything. I have previously used this great camo fabric that looked like bark that apparently they don't make anymore. I mean, I bought this years and years ago and I used it for tree costumes. And unfortunately, I was not able to reuse those costumes for this show because it was more of a dress kind of tube thing, and they were all custom made for the people who wore them at the time. And they didn't dance. They just kinda, like, stood there and swayed back and forth because they had these very elaborate, like, foam core harness type things. And, um hi, Jean, thanks for joining. And so anyway, I thought I could take them apart, piece the fabric all together, and, like, kind of Franken fabric it, and then use that to cut out the pattern, and there's just not enough. And in addition, there's 2 different types of fabric. So one of them is like a lightweight cotton, and the other was like a heavier weight twill. So that was the other problem. I didn't have if I would have had all 5 original trees, I might have been able to make it happen, but because I only had 3 of the trees and not the biggest one either, I couldn't make it happen. I started ripping it all out and piecing it, and then I was like, "This is taking forever." It took me about 2 days to just get everything ripped out and then flat, and then looking at it going, "Yeah, this is not gonna work." So that's why I came up with this solution, which is this tree bark fabric. I may have to color over some of the white birch branches, especially the ones that are going, like, horizontal like these. Like, the vertical ones are fine, but the kind of horizontal and angled ones are kind of that really just kinda stands out, and I don't want that to happen. Now, I may be able to pattern it out, like, once I lay out the overall patterns on this fabric, I may be able to get some of those pieces cut out. So, um, I'll see how that goes. I'm trying to get that cut out in the next couple of days so I can take it with me and sew at my cousin's house. If you're just joining me, earlier I said that my great aunt Pat is in the hospital in Louisiana, and she's stable, but nobody really knows what's gonna happen because they don't really know what's going on. And so I'm going on Wednesday with my sister and my grandma because this is my grandma's baby sister. So my grandma's 98, baby sister's 96, and we just need to get her over there to see her. So we're taking a trip. I'll be gone 5 days, and that means I have to take projects with me. So I'm trying to get the bot costumes all finished between now and Tuesday night, and then I'm going to cut this out, and I'm really hoping that my lame stretch fabric, metallic lame, gets here before I leave. Because even if it gets here before I leave, I can take it with me and cut it out somewhere at my cousin's house. I'm hoping somebody will let me use a table, and get that just done so I can start working on that costume. And that is for the Galactic Mediator, and so it's gonna be like gold and silver, like stretch lame. It's, um it's a knit pattern, it's a plus size pattern that I found, and it's very basic because I love a good basic pattern when I'm making some costumes. And I think it's on the table somewhere. No, I don't know where it is. It might have fallen off the table. Clementine has been getting on the table and just knocking things off, so I keep losing things, but it's a Mimi G pattern. It is a plus size pattern. It has like short sleeves that are kind of like raglan sleeves or kimono sleeves. I don't know how I guess technically they're kimono sleeves because they're part of the body of the dress. And so there's the front is cut on a fold, the back is 2 pieces, but I think you cut it on a fold. And then there's like a collar with like a placket. I'm gonna bump up the size of the collar, make it a little bigger, and then I think I'm gonna make the sleeves longer and maybe add a cape or some fancy flowy sleevey things. We shall see. But that's the other thing I need to do, and then I need to make. Oh yeah, I have to make Rocket's costume, but I ordered an orange work suit from Amazon, and I'm gonna cut the sleeves off, and I'm gonna cut the pants to knee length, and then I'm gonna cheat, and I'm not gonna sew. I'm gonna heat and bond fabric to that costume to make it look like Rocket's costume because it's hard to sew things on something that's already made. And Um, I just decided that's gonna be easier. Like, it just has to look good from the audience. So if that's what happens, that's what happens. Heat and bond works really well. I got a long, big piece of it, nice tube of it. And I learned that trick from my friend Jackie back in college when I was making some costumes then. And it works really well and it's fast. And so, because of all this other sewing and all the other things happening, I need something fast. So, that could very easily go to Louisiana with me to just be a quick project. And I'll probably take my own iron just in case because I don't want to mess up my cousin's iron. But yeah, so that's what's going on with me. And anybody wants to say hi, leave a comment, let me know where you are and then what you're working on. I'd love to know. And I know I've been kind of absent. I had been doing the weekly YouTube long form videos and started feeling a little burnt out in May. And so I think there were 2 videos in May. Don't remember. I thought there were. I think there were because then I went on vacation. So the first 2 weeks of May, I think there were videos. And then, yeah, I've just been feeling kind of burned out. So I think it happens. I'm just kind of feeling burned out because I just, it's a lot to make a video every single week. And I just needed some time off. And so I was going to just take a break when I was gone for vacation for like 3 weeks. And then when I came back, I just was still running kind of slow. And so it's been slow getting back, but I am doing better. I'm feeling better. I turned 48 in June. And so I think that's kind of part of it too, is that I'm 2 years from 50 and I just been thinking a lot of things. And I don't know, it's just been hard. So that's what I can say. I did get an air conditioner, so I am excited about that. It is making the sewing room much cooler. It is not on right now because it is surprisingly loud considering it was one of the quiet window air conditioner units. So it is turned off, but I do turn it back on when I'm not filming and sharing my life with you guys. So, um, what else can I tell you? Yeah, so I'm hoping that once I oh, hey, Jen, I'm so glad you're here. I'm actually gonna see Jen a little bit later because 'cause we're going to dinner tonight with her husband and my boyfriend, and so we should have a lot of fun. But, yeah, so I am hoping to get back into the swing of things. I'm trying to get all these costumes done because it's actually a lot of sewing to do. And my deadline is August 9th. That is a self-imposed deadline. That is the full dress rehearsal during the rehearsal. So before they move into the theater that Friday or Saturday, I think that's Saturday they start moving into the theater. So it's the Wednesday before. I'm gonna have all the sewing done. Oh my gosh, you're so lucky you have rain in Germany, cheeky fox. It is so hot here and we have not had very much rain at all. So the 9th is my personal deadline. I just want to have all the sewn things done. I still have to make a headpiece for the galactic mediator. I did go to the Dollar Tree and get a whole bunch of supplies and little foam balls and things that are going to require painting and kind of sculpting. So we'll see how that goes. But that should be fun. That's kind of a fun project. I may take that with me to Louisiana because my cousin's little girls are going to be there, and they may feel like doing some painting. I don't know. It may be too much with them around, but my sister can help for sure. And and then I just want to have the sewing done. I have to make that, and then I have to make a costume for Hal 9000. It's the evil robot, or yeah, the evil AI voice with the red dot in 2001: A Space Odyssey. I haven't seen it, so I don't know for sure. But I found some costumes on Pinterest. What would we do without Pinterest? I don't know. It's really a great source to go look for things. So based on that, it's like a box that goes over your head. And, my friend Kevin, who's playing Hal, needs to be able to hear and sing. So we can't do the fiberglass fancy thing that they were showing on Instructables. But I think I can make it work with foam core and pet screen, like for pet doors, but I have to find some of that. I'm going to try and show it on So Lounge, Jen. I'm concurrently making a video of the sewing process. So I recorded some this morning. I recorded some cutting out fabric. I recorded the intro and the unboxing from Fabric Wholesale Direct. And I'm going to try and keep up with all of that. There may be some fun and exciting stuff filmed in Louisiana. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so there will be a full on all the costumes and the process all together later in August once I finish and then have a chance to put all that footage together because that's always something, And it's going to be a lot. And then I think by the time I finish that, I'm going to be feeling like more in the creative mindset and in the, you know, okay, I'm feeling better. I'm kind of through this funk. Great film. Hal was not evil, just misunderstood. That's what I have read that in the forums about that. I think he's kind of, I'm not sure what he's doing in this production, frankly. I have not read the updated script in a while. And yeah, then I read somewhere that like Hal and Dave are the same person, just alter egos. So that seemed a little crazy too. And spoiler alert if anybody hasn't seen it, but I haven't seen it, so I don't see how I could ruin it. But yeah, so I got to make a Hal costume, and my friend Kevin was like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, sewing, not making anything with foam core." And he's like, "Well, I'd really like to wear it while I rehearse." Yeah, maybe after the ninth, unless I have time, and then I'll have it for the ninth, but not before then. Nobody's really getting a chance to rehearse in costumes before the ninth. I'm trying to do my best, but it's a lot of sewing. Again, like people who don't sew don't understand how long it takes to just get fabric cut out. And then you have to mark it. And then you have to, use the pattern for the next size. And so I the one of the producers is like, "Oh, are you gonna have any costumes ready so I can use them for, promos and all that?" I'm like, "No, I'm not, because I can't just sew one costume and then give it to you. Like, I need to do it all at the same time. It's a process. It's like today I sewed all the sleeves at the same time, and then I'm going through and putting in all the pockets at the same time. It's kind of like my own personal assembly line, but it's just me. And maybe because it's sewing, it's more of a sweatshop than an assembly line. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Manage expectations. Yes, I just said no, it's not happening. You can use Mulder and Scully, who are wearing regular people clothes, and some of the other characters who are in the show who are wearing people clothes, but it's not going to be original designs that are sewn because they're not going to be ready until the ninth. After the ninth, then you can have something. But yeah, do y'all have the same issue with people like, "Hey, can you just make this now?" No, I can't just make it now. I also have a job, granted, it's not a hard job and it doesn't require me to be there. Definitely switch. Jen, I got an AC. You might not have heard that part. So, no, the AC is definitely helping. I'm much happier, especially because today isn't too bad. It's not over 100 today, but it's been in the high 90s. By the time the afternoon rolls around, it is really scorching in this room. And this is the hottest room in the house and the coldest room in winter. It's the weirdest thing. And I don't know why. My boyfriend's gotten up in the attic and looked at the vents, and he's like, everything looks fine. Nothing is closed, nothing is blocked. I don't know why the air is not coming in here. So that's why I got the AC last week, and he put it in because he's the best and he's very handy like that. So, um, you know, that's just helping things. When I come home from work, I can actually come in here and do something because I'm not dying and smothering from the heat. But um, yeah, so we've been doing this 39 minutes. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts about anything. I I've just kind of been rambling, but I think that's the whole point of a live stream where it's a chatty sewing live. I was thinking about doing this more regularly just to hang out. Let me know what y'all think if you enjoy this and can be here. I did 3 o'clock because that way people in the UK and Europe can join in on the fun if they want to. And that way you can get up a Saturday morning, go do your errands, go do all that stuff, do your grocery shopping, because everyone knows Sunday grocery shopping is the worst. It's like people are crazy and angry because they just want to get what they want, and it's a lot of hostility in the parking lot on a Sunday grocery shopping. Um, so go get your stuff done in the morning and then come hang out with me in the afternoon because that would be so much more fun. And I won't always ramble quite so crazy. Hopefully Jen will be back. You like the ramble. Thank you, Jen. I'm showing my personality. Jen says I need to use my normal voice and not my lawyer voice like I do in a lot of my videos. And when I explain things, the lawyer voice comes out. So maybe Jen will join me in for the next one, maybe in August, and we can hang out together and ramble about various sewing and design topics. I do have some videos in the hopper, which I still need to finish, but they're from my London trip. So I did go shopping at Liberty of London and buy fabric, of course, because, that's what happens. You love salty Tony. I'm not that salty, but I'm not lawyer Tony today. So there's that. I did go shopping at Liberty. I did buy fabric. I did spend way too much money. Well, way too much money. You know, the value of the pound against the dollar went up after I left London. So I did get a better bargain than if I'd gone like right now. There's that. But yes, fabric in England is expensive and they do not have tax free like they do in Europe. Although not on the fabric I bought in Spain. That shop did not do tax free. But so that video is coming up. I did go to a really cool exhibit at the Fashion and Textile Museum, which I'm not going to tell you any more about because it's a surprise, but it's going to be really good. And then I also went to William Morris's house and filmed there, and I bought that William Morris fabric. And I think I'm going to put that all together along with some of the philosophies of William Morris because he hated industrialization, which is kind of funny because there's a whole movement towards handmade stuff now and me made and anti-fast fashion and all that good stuff and like zero waste sewing and all that. And I think William Morris would have really loved that because back in the when was that? It was the arts and crafts movement. So that was the early 1900s. He was all about like not mass producing fabric and dyes and like he hated these chemical dyes to dye things. Actually no, it wasn't then, it was the late 1800s. I've got my times messed up. Arts and crafts movement predates art deco and art nouveau. It's kind of art nouveau, I guess. So he went back to the hand dyeing fabric using indigo dyes and rose madder and cochineal, which is one of Jen's favorite dead bug dyeing fabrics. And then he did all this hand printing and he had a whole studio and it was really cool. And he, wanted like hand woven rugs instead of mass produced rugs, which I don't know if you've seen William Morris designs lately on Ruggable in like every shape you could imagine, 100% polyester. I think William Morris might be rolling over in his grave on that one. I felt a little bad for him, but I don't think he would have approved of his designs being used in that manner. But you can get a giant strawberry thief rug. So, there's a trade-off. I think people learning about William Morris is also important. So we will have a video about that a little bit later. I have to figure out what I want to do with my fabric because I don't really know what I want to make with it yet. So that's kind of on hold. I do have, the William Morris footage done, but not the other part of it. So we shall see. But I'm running out of things to talk about. Jen, give me a topic, or somebody give me a topic, or somebody ask a question, or tell me what you're working on. Because yeah, that's where I am. So I am going to be still sewing a lot. And my needles come in tomorrow to help me sew these sticky metallic fabrics. And so I will be getting those bot costumes done. Hopefully tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Keep me in your prayers. Pray for the Bernina to keep working right and not to get angry. I don't think she will. She's a trooper. And I did just have her. I don't know if he used block printing. It was all block printing. They had the blocks at the William Morris house for printing, which was really cool. And then they had like some of the runs with like the first block printing, which was like the outlines, and then they go back in and add the color. It was very cool. I think he was anti-roller printing. Don't say that. Did use indigo and a lot of all natural dyes. I can't think of what the other one was. I knew that they had examples of indigo, rose madder, cochineal, and a yellow one, which ochre, some kind of ochre, I think. But yeah, so that's what's going on with me. A lot going on in my head. Oh, and one other thing I want to do next month is kind of an upcycle of a dress that I bought in London. And Jen thinks it looks good the way it is, but it's like ankle length on me. And I think it would look much cuter if it was knee length on me. And it's hanging up. So I'm going to grab it real quick while I keep talking to you guys. I did show this to her when she was here not too long ago. So this is it. I think it would be perfect to wear to the cast party. It is very kind of 70s disco style, I think I would say. So it's got buttons up the front. There's a placket here, but then it's really, really long onto my ankles. And the sleeves have elastic in them and they're a little too tight. And they kind of hit me funny because they kind of hit me like here in the forearm as opposed to like right up here. When they're here from all that sewing. So anyway, this is my dress. I want to adjust the sleeves. I'm not sure how yet. I think that elastic's gonna have to come out though. And then I wanted to hem it to knee length, even though Jen is very anti-knee length. I also got these really cool orange shoes that will match it. Jen said I need to wear cowboy boots instead. But I'm going to the cast party of the show on Friday night. And so I think that would be really fun to wear since it's kind of spacey themed. And I like this dress and I want to wear it. So that's the other thing to do in August, video wise, in addition to all the costuming, how that went. It's going to go great eventually. And once I get all my supplies together, it'll be very exciting. And then I'll get my dress done so I can wear it. And I guess that's it. I don't really have anything else to say. I need to do a little bit more sewing before I have to go get ready to go meet Jen for dinner. And thank you guys for being here today. It's been fun hanging out. And I hope that y'all enjoy watching this and that y'all will be back to hang out again on another Saturday. And let me know how you feel about this format because I think it's kind of fun. It's a good way to check in without having to make an entire video because I can just do it live and walk into the sewing room. So check out Instagram. I will be posting pictures. I will also put them in the community tab on YouTube. So thank you for being here and check that out. They should come up on your feed if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of this fun and exciting sewing adventures that we have here at So Lounge, or that I have here. And sometimes Clementine shows up and just makes a mess. She was attacking me this morning while I was recording a video. So I don't know if her paw is in the video or not, but we shall see. Thank you, Cheeky Fox. I will enjoy my dinner. It looks like a fancy Mexican restaurant that we're going to where they set meat on fire. I will let you know how it goes. But I'm going to get back to sewing. I am so glad you guys were here. And like I said, there will be a video coming at some point. Once it's done, I'll put the link down below this one, this live stream, if you want to check it out, if you catch this after the fact. And I hope y'all have a fabulous rest of the Saturday, wherever you are. And let me know what you're working on in the comments. Even if you watch this video later, just let me know. I'd like to know. I'd like to know what everybody's working on. Everybody should be sewing all the time. Makes you happy. Gets those endorphins going. And that's all good. So I will catch y'all later. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye. And it always takes a sec for this to actually end. So bye.